welcome to today's update video. This is Tropical Depression Force C we have. It's right near the international state line. It's really slowly becoming better organized. It's probably nearing or at tropical storm intensity right now. And it looks like some dry air got entertained the system overnight, but the system is like I still think the system is still likely nearing or at tropical storm intensity. We're waiting to see on the next device to see where the CPHC upgrades. In the EDCF file, they put 30 knots, and they usually go what's in the EDCF file, the CPHC. Unless extreme evidence suggests otherwise. Anyhow, this is back to our newly upgraded Tropical Depression 3CS, and this was somewhat bizarrely upgraded to Tropical Storm Kilo after inflated Dvorak numbers. The sound effects of the system probably is not very accurate. The CPHC sound effects, they have the system right around down here, which I guess is plausible, but I think a better sound effects would be right around down here. They have it right around close to around 13.8 north and 152 degrees west. It's not really a well-organized tropical at the moment, though. I actually think it's trying to make some effort to consolidate and become better organized. It looks a little less elongated, and yes, I'll give it that much. Convection's also decreasing. There's strong evidence of 20 to 30 knots of shear at least impacting the system. But I'm seeing a little bit better defined outflow from the west side, so there is some indications that when the system gets to around 155, 160 W, shear may abate, but I'm not sure. Especially since I think the global models yesterday were overdoing the system, just because of the fact that yesterday the system was pulsing convection because there's very little data in this part of the world. That since pulsing convection, they're gonna overinflate the system since they'll overdo the latent heat release. Since sometimes the convection isn't in a tropical cycle, despite the increased latent heat release, isn't always true of the intensity of the tropical cyclone, even though the system may have been interpreted by global models as stronger, or at least about to become stronger. And partially uses the poor, probably at least partially uses the poor Central Pacific hurricanes having the Central to East that kind of screwed up the global and hurricane models initialization as well. That probably causes them to overdo its intensity somewhat. The guidance has shifted a little bit east last night, so I don't think Hawaii is out in the woods right now. I will note that, however, the system is not in a very good environment at all. And I think that just given the appearance of the system, I think both the ships and CMS are probably underdoing the amount of shear. The system appears, based on appearance, anywhere from, I'd say, around 15 to 30 knots of shear is likely affecting the system. And I think these maps are off. I can use the get data. I can take 10 or 15 knot system, you see 10 or 15 knot shear area, you see like a poorly organized system with maybe a partially exposed center, but you wouldn't see the extremely high, you wouldn't see the system look as bad as it is right now. And honestly, the system is probably barely a tropical cyclone, since there has been no evidence of any deep convection, assuming the center effects is east of the Central Pacific Hurricane center effects for quite some time. Now here's a look at the microwave imagery. And you can see if you look really close, you can see there's some evidence of some shower activity along what at least was probably an old, what in my opinion is the circulation center. As I noted yesterday, the circulation center affects the track a little bit. This is what the GFS is initializing this whole situation as. Let's pay close attention to this. The GFS, like most of the model runs, is keeping this relatively weak now, unlike the older GFS runs. But interestingly, the spread is a little bit greater. So spread isn't greater now. So let's now look at it. This is what? This is between day and 4 day 5. You can see a much higher spread than was. Well, some models are kind of on board with what 0Z European run showed, and that was a weaker system. Some of the ensemble members are kind of on to what the previous and most recent GFS runs have been doing. So the next GFS run is going to be pretty interesting to see what happens. So the next one's gonna be interesting to see what happens and see if they can continue showing. Yesterday 0Z GFS1 I told you the 6Z GFS1 shifted a little farther west, but the 18 not what. Yeah. But the 18Z GFS, not the 18Z, the 12Z GFS rather shifted closer to shifted closer to the main Hawaiian islands. They bring it pretty close to Oahu and Nahune and Kauai, those islands. Now, it's also worth noting that the GFS in the 12Z run, the 6Z run, the 12Z run brings the trough just a little bit further south than the 6Z GFS one, which would probably partially explain the easterly center effects. And that would mostly explain the easterly center. Not explanation, obviously, is the differences in the center effects and internationalization, but something to keep an eye on, and this is going to be very important. Since it's important to watch the movie upcoming days, just because of the models have just been flip-flopping back and forth over the next several days. I've been flip-flopping back and forth over the last several days, and likely will continue, at least until the system becomes a little bit better. And I was taking a look at the HWRF, which have also, and GFDL, which have also been, HWRF and the GFDL have also been shifted through the 6Z runs, the two models, now the 12Z runs, bring the system a little bit closer to the Hawaiian Islands as well. And the UK Met, which I might have showed you yesterday, I can't remember, is also shifted closer to Hawaii. So it's going to be very key. So it's going to be very interesting to watch what happens over the next several days. I advise that interesting to watch, to monitor it very closely. The 12Z European, which I think I'll pull up. Just give me a moment, I'll pull it up. Assuming my computer closed. Keep this is a much weaker and actually opens into a trough, but seems somewhat fishy. But given the I'm willing to give some credit to it, just because the European's been a top goal model for years and probably been the best this season. So they open the system up into a post-tropical remnant low, even to a trough at some point at the high res, in around 72, 96 hours. Then eventually, like the old GFS run, they eventually later bring the system close to Hawaii before another ridge comes out and turns this west. But the point is, interesting, Hawaii, while I was looking at while the situation is looking better than it did yesterday, Hawaii is nowhere near out of the risk with this, and especially if the center effects, if the center reforms, if the center is where I think it is, the system is probably still a threat to Hawaii. Now, if the center keeps seat-based center effects, as well as reconnaissance data tonight is where the center actually is, then maybe Hawaii's at a much minor threat, but it's also going to come and see how strong the system gets. Because right now, given the lack of organization, I think the global output seems to have sheared pretty strong for the next few days. I'm not too optimistic on significant strengthening for at least the next 3 to 5, maybe even 5 days. Anyhow, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Bye.